Joey Palmroos, I think is his name. He's doing a B-roll challenge, and you have to include gingerbread in your B-roll, or it has to be about gingerbread, gingerbread houses, gingerbread cookies, gingerbread men, any of that. And so I'm just gonna show kind of like the behind the scenes, how I was able to make this video.
Sleigh bells ringing, diamonds blinging, carols singing, favorite season. Sleigh bells ringing, diamonds blinging, carols singing, favorite season. They said, "Say Nick, what you got up in that bag?" Yeah, I got racks in my sack or in my bag. Yeah, fall frozen, neck is frozen. Catch me rolling, I'm the chosen. Snow is falling.
For the first scene with the gumdrops, I wanted to do the stop motion style just because I feel like it's different than the regular B-roll that we see. And so I wanted to add something that was a little bit different for the regular B-roll. Originally, I didn't have any zoom and I didn't have any rotation. And so I feel like the video was lacking some movement. And so that's why I added just like a slight rotation and a zoom in effect, because I feel like it draws the viewer into the experience right from the beginning. Last time I tried to put pictures into Premiere Pro, my computer had a really hard time figuring out how to handle that. And so what I did, instead of taking pictures, I just put the camera on a tripod and just filmed at 24 frames per second. And then just went back later and just cut all the pieces that I wanted out of it. And so it wasn't the traditional stop motion style, but it worked for me. And I just did kind of what I knew I could do and what was easiest for my workflow. And so that's what that first scene is. The second shot that I got was, I imagined the box spinning and I thought it was going to be super cool, and it turned out to be super cool. But it was really difficult to get. In order to mask everything out, I had to make sure that I moved slow enough so the entire box filled the frame and that it took up the entire screen as it spun around, so I could mask out that first scene and then mask in the new scene. And another thing that we did, we took out all the gingerbread stuff from the box, so we were just spinning the box itself, because I didn't want, first of all, I didn't want any of the gingerbread cracking, and second of all, it would just been more difficult with it rattling around and stuff like that. So we got rid of that, but that shot took the longest, and it was pretty time consuming because we would film a few shots, like film it a couple of times. I'd put it into Premiere Pro to make sure to slow it down and to see if it would work. With the breaking the gingerbread, I kind of didn't want to do it because I feel like everybody involves breaking the gingerbread, but I added it anyways. The struggle I did have with connecting the breaking of the gingerbread and the squirting on the frosting, I had a hard time figuring out how to make those transitions work together. And I'd watched a video from Schiffer, and he said when he struggled to do that because there are different motions, he just added a film burn. And so that's what I ended up doing, is just adding a film burn. And I feel like it made the transition pretty smooth, pretty seamlessly smooth. And for these close-up shots, so like the close-up of the frosting going across, this is something that I don't have a macro lens. The closest lens I have is a 50 millimeter. And so what I do is I have a magnifying glass lens. Let me go get it really fast. So there's this glass. I don't know if you can see it, if it makes my eye bigger. But there's this magnifying glass lens. It says that it's +4. I don't really know what that means. But I just tape it to my lens because I don't have the right size. I think this is a 52 millimeter thread and mine's a 49, so it doesn't work. So I just tape it onto my 50 millimeter lens, and it gets really good close up shots. So with the frosting, it worked out really well. My whole goal and my challenge with this B-roll sequence was to make it not look like the average or the stereotypical B-roll. And I mean, I still had stereotypical B-roll stuff in it, but I really tried hard to not get sucked into the same shots that everyone does. And so filming like behind my wife, like trying to frame it within her arm and like the side of her body, framing the graham crackers, I feel like was important and cool. And then getting a top down shot, I feel like adds variety versus just straight on. And then for basically all these other shots, most of them was just me filming my wife as she was creating the gingerbread houses. And it was just trial and error, being like, okay, does this angle look good? No. Does this angle look better? Yes, I like this angle, so I'm going to go for that. And it was a lot of just trial and error, just playing around and getting creative with the different angles and the different shots. With this last shot, this is my hero shot, I think is what they call it. So this is my hero shot. I really wanted to show people that it's this village, and I wanted to kind of showcase everything. I wanted to have the Christmas tree in the background where you see that lightly, the stockings hung up. I wanted everything to be like, this is Christmas, this is the season. And I wanted to incorporate the snow falling because right in that part of that song it talks about snow falling. So I did a masking, and I did a pretty big feather to make it so it kind of slowly drifts in. When I didn't have the huge feather, it just kind of dropped in and it looked just like one straight layer and it looked weird. So this kind of helped ease it into it. As I was editing, I realized there's one more thing that I didn't mention in the video, and it's that I was only using one light. I just had one key light, and I'll show you kind of the setup that I have. This is my setup. This is a homemade key light that is a work light. It's attached to a curtain rod, which is then attached to a like tripod from Amazon. But the work light, I put like, let me get a wider shot of it. The work light is literally has styrofoam, like has poster board, and then I'm diffusing it with a trash bag. I want to share that because I feel like when you're first starting off trying to do B-roll or just trying to film in general, you'll see a lot of tutorials and they have tons of lights there. They have really powerful lights. They have expensive lights. So I wanted to show that you can still make high quality videos with a lower end DIY budget light. I feel like that's important for me. Anytime I watch a video and I see someone who has a new idea of how to do budget filmmaking, I'm all for it. So hopefully that can help inspire or benefit one of you guys.